in the last few years, the landscape is definitely changing in a lot of different ways. I think one of the things that AI has done, certainly AI has been a big influence in our lives already, certainly in school and what we're doing, even in MeeBoss, we do have AI functionality in our platform. But in some ways, it's been really harmful in the hiring space. It's making it easier than ever to apply to jobs, even while you sleep. We're using AI, of course, to help write better resumes and to tell our stories. The employer side, they're getting inundated with applications and using AI to scan the resumes. In a lot of ways, there's a lot of silence in between those both sides. We're sending a lot of resumes and applications that matter, but they're not being received on the other side. And the latest statistics are actually pretty alarming, but is what has driven us to push into this space is that roughly 95% of applications on Indeed or LinkedIn are not never result in a connection, never result in a response by a human. So we all get the emails that say your application's been received, or we're still reviewing candidates, and we're trying to do everything we can to get a response. Why? Because we value our experience and our knowledge, and we're excited to try to join these companies and to pursue these opportunities. But we're met with this almost deafening silence. And as a result, I've talked to job seeker after job seeker. I've been there myself, putting out hundreds of applications and not hearing anything back. I feel broken, right? We feel like we don't have what it takes, or what's wrong, what am I missing? And it's not job seekers that are broken, it's the process that's broken. And AI in many ways has facilitated that, because more and more applications, more and more even fake profiles, fake jobs. There's just a lot going on there that has created noise. And the end result is that people are getting, in many ways, disconnected, and it's become very transactional, where hiring should be personal. Hiring is, about joining a team, taking on a role, taking on a responsibility. And in the end of the day, we're working together. People are working together. So why do we separate the people that should be talking? And that's our goal, is to bring the job seekers and the hiring managers directly together in our platform, so there's no obstacle between them. And we started this journey about a year ago to fix hiring. In fact, I'm co-founder of MeeBoss. I met my co-founder, Susanna Niu, on LinkedIn. We actually met there, and we decided we could do better. So we're here to fix it. We have an amazing team behind us that really cares about this space. Many people in our group have come from HR tech, come from different backgrounds, but we've all been job seekers. We've all sometimes been hiring managers. I think everybody on this call has started out as a job seeker, right? When we're entering our career. And then we might go to the other side, might be building a team, then we're looking for work. So we're always going from one side to the other. And we're really trying to center on making it easier to find the right opportunities and breaking down all the barriers that are separating the two people, the job seeker, the candidate, and the hiring manager, so that they can talk early in the process. What you're seeing here is just a screenshot of MeeBoss. We launched in January this last year, so we're coming up on our first year anniversary. And we've definitely tapped into something special here. I think we're kind of showing up at the right time, because all of our competition's still doing the high volume resume, application. We call it the black hole. They're all trying to solve the black hole, and we're solving it, but in a different way, by bringing together recommendation-based job search and chat. And I'm going to get into that a little more. But what you're seeing here is, our mobile application. We're also on web at meeboss.com. And a lot of our users start their journey there, and then they'll install the mobile app to interact and chat with hiring managers. But there's, this is an important mission we're on, because I know how important it is to, how important work is to each of us, to our self-worth, our character, financially supporting ourselves, our family, our communities. So I just want you to know we take this very, very seriously. This is a mission that I feel I'm built for and that our team is committed to. And we believe that bottom line, it should be human. I'm old enough to remember, and maybe a few others on this call are too, that we used to walk into the office, we'd have a resume in hand, we'd say hi to the secretary or somebody on the front desk. The manager would come out, we'd hand him or her the resume, we'd shake their hand. You had a conversation at that first stage. And both sides, my other belief is people are a really good judge of people. AI is trying to figure out how to judge people, but it's just judging us as a bunch of keywords or phrases that AI is writing in the first place. So it's not really creating a fair representation of like who we really are, what drives us. But when you talk to somebody, when you chat with somebody, when we spend time together here, we're already getting a feel for who we are, and that's already putting us on a path to be better collaborators, better friends, better connections, better teammates. And so a lot of platforms are simply just hiding behind the system. And this is the way the system's been built, right? You have algorithms and filters. When we go to all the job boards and search, guess what? We all see the same jobs, and then we all try to apply to those. But oh my gosh, there's already 400 people applying. So I move on to the next one. But then we apply, customize resumes, and guess what? We end up getting ghosted. And the recruiters, believe me, they're drowning, as it says here, in noise. And so all this is happening hours and hours a day. I mean, I know how much time and effort we've all put into that. But in the end, nobody's talking and nobody's connecting. And so we're going in that direction. Some of the key problems, for the hiring managers, definitely, they're experiencing pain too. And one thing I want to make sure you know is that MeeBoss, we're trying to level the playing field. We're not, the playing field is very tilted right now, right? Job seekers feel like we can't get the attention, can't get a response. We're leveling that so that both sides can initiate a chat on our platform. But what they're experiencing is real too. They've lost a lot of hiring power because they're inundated with hundreds of applications. They're trying to figure out how to comb through those. They're reacting to everything around them, and it's hard to compete because good candidates get lost in the process. They're also, we've pulled in very, very closely with startups, and that's a lot of what I'll share with you today. That we're seeing compression in big tech, essentially. We all read about the layoffs at Amazon, at Microsoft, Meta, and I'm sure we know people, here in our own communities that are impacted. One of the effects, though, is that a lot of those, talented people, no fault of their own, have now been put out into the marketplace. A lot of them are becoming founders. A lot of them maybe have the resources, or they have inspiration like I did coming out of Disney, where I said, hey, I have an idea. I see a problem I can solve. I want to build this. I want to get into the entrepreneurial space. So that's also why I feel MeeBoss is showing up at the right time, because there's a lot of startups coming out of this change that's happening, and we all have to adapt to that. And I think we're adapting. We've literally built our platform to help startups, and even growing startups, and even larger businesses. But we've really seen an attraction from those founders, from these startups, that say, we can't find good talent on LinkedIn. Indeed, not working. We need a more personal touch. We need to know these people, because they're going to be my first hire, or my first 5 or 10. We're going to be like family. So they're looking for a new way to really build a team based on that strong connection. And that means they're looking for candidates that have a startup mindset. What is it like to work for a startup? That's a different world than it is, preparing to work in big tech or to interview at Amazon. It's a completely different kind of way to think. So I'm here to share some insights there too. And then hiring managers completely bottlenecked. These are very expensive platforms that they pay for, and it's just slow. And I saw these delays firsthand at Disney as we were using them. And quite often what happens is that they end up sorting through all that and getting to candidates that are not really aligned on their mission. They might look great on the skill set, or their background is a good match. You know, those keywords look great, but really when we say, hey, are you rolling up your sleeves and really buying into the mission of what we're building? Are you ready to go through the hard parts and go for that success together? They're not finding that when they're scanning resumes, right? So they're often, you know, challenged to find good candidates that match. And on the job seeker side, I think we'd all could add more bullets to this list, but you know, all that work putting resumes and applications out into these systems, it just leaves us with no answer, right? 95% again go unanswered. There's a lot of competition. There's bots on LinkedIn. I'll just tell you, you guys probably know that already. There was a report that somebody posted, a software engineering role, I think in Austin, Texas. And within like the first 400 milliseconds, there were already over 100 applications. There's no human way possible that we could click a button that, you know, that fast, so to speak. So it's hard to stand out. We're competing with bots now. We're competing with a lot of job seekers in the market, and intense competition, intense noise. These things are also costly, the tools. MeeBoss is free, and that's a big part of our vision, that will always be free for job seekers. I think there's enough on their plate that we don't need to be, in this case, as a matching platform, don't need to be asking for a fee. There are great services out there that are worthy of that if people need resume help or coaching. I'm not saying those are bad investments, but from our standpoint, you'll never pay a dime as a job seeker. And then endless listings. We are not a job board. So one of the first things people always ask me is, hey, I went to MeeBoss.com. Where's the search bar? Where do I search for product manager? Where do I search for software engineer? We don't have a search bar because we're a job matching platform. So that's different. And I'll tell you a bit more about how we do that. But when you do go to LinkedIn, when you go to these other sites, you just get endless listings that you're scrolling through. And so how we're solving that is chat first. Our biggest bet is that let's make it more engaging for both sides. Let's get down into the personal side, the things that matter. The skills, the background, your education are important. That's what got you a seat at the table. That's what gets you in the door, so to speak. But the conversation then you have is the one that gets you moving forward in the process. So we've made that easy by going with a chat first platform. The way we do that is we first match you. So as you set up a profile on MeeBoss, and I encourage folks to even start doing that now while I'm talking to you, it's free to set up and quick and easy to do so. And the more you tell us about what you're looking for, we take all that into consideration and instantly match you to roles that are on our platform. We don't scrape roles. We don't scrape job seekers. These are real people signing up that we vet, real companies and startups right here in Seattle that are hiring today. And so we'll personalize those recommendations for the job seeker. And likewise, we're also recommending talent on MeeBoss. Those job seekers who've signed up that are active are also being recommended to the hiring managers. And then either side can start a chat. In fact, the button that you'll see on MeeBoss, if you're looking at a job, it says chat to apply. So there's no applications on MeeBoss. No applications. And I hope that helps somebody take a little weight off your shoulders. We use chat instead of apply. So the moment you start a conversation, that is your application. You don't need to fill out more forms. Yes, go ahead.
Hey, Forrest. Hey, it's Craig. I just wanted to let you
Hi,
know I'm
Craig.
on, and wanted to let the folks know it's Craig from MeeBoss here. I'm one of Forrest's colleagues, and we are actually going to try to demo this whole experience for you. We are going to look at how I can match you jobs and how you do an actual first chat introduction here. We'll do a
Yep,
demo in about
I
10
think we're
minutes.
right at that point. Perfect.
Oh, do you want to jump into it now?
Yeah, because well, I'll I think we're one slide away. Yeah. So
Okay, good timing. Go
that's
for it.
perfect timing. I'm glad you made it, man. So this is just a quick outline of how MeeBoss works, and we have over 200 companies right now, majority of which here in Seattle, or even some that have remote roles in other locations that are hiring everything from engineer, technical side to go to market roles. We'll look at how the product works, and basically you can see on the left side you're going to get suggested roles. So these are recommended. And one thing I'll point out is you'll notice like the titles aren't all UI UX designer in this case. We're putting other roles that might be named similarly. We also believe in what's called transferable skills. So you might have a UX UI design background, but maybe you have some product management too, or some marketing, let's say. So we'll also, depending again on your profile and your preferences, we'll also start to suggest roles that we feel you're a good match for that might be a different job title, but adjacent to one that you're looking for. And so if those jump out to you, you can basically look at the details of the job. You can see firsthand exactly who is in the hiring seat. So that would be in many cases the founder of the startup themselves, or the hiring manager of that engineering team, or the person who's doing the hiring is the person that you can then message directly. In this case, you start a chat in MeeBoss, you can see here, and then that chat gets going, and there's some functions we'll show you as well, but essentially you can exchange resume, schedule interviews, and keep that conversation going into an interview pipeline. So with that, yeah, Craig, let's do a little demo. How's that sound?
Yeah, let me see if I can share my screen.
Or I can share mine.
Yeah, I think, can everyone let me know if you can see my
There you
screen
go. You
for it?
got it.
Perfect. Okay, so let's take a quick walk through here. And while we're doing this, let's also talk about some tips and tricks that let's just say that'll get you ahead of the pack, if you will. One thing to note is this is a live environment. So I have already set up a chat with Forrest, but there's a couple things that I just want to point out right when we log in. First and foremost, it was really easy for me to create my profile. I used my LinkedIn. I then reviewed the information that LinkedIn imported. You can do the same with a resume. That part works a lot like all the other services that you've probably used in the past. The important thing there is just verify all the information. And also, one thing that sometimes we don't list on LinkedIn is all the certificates or awards or courses and extracurricular activities, things like that that you've done that you never know. We have found that when folks are setting their job description together, they are looking for sometimes some specific certifications that sometimes we don't even add to LinkedIn. So just make sure you put in everything, especially all the education items that you've worked so hard for. Once you go ahead and do that, again, you could have it done probably if I give you a couple minutes here, but bear with us. Once you do, you will start seeing what jobs you are matched with. Now, that's the important thing here. This is the screen that I was immediately presented right when I logged in. Okay. What we don't see, a couple things. We don't see any drop downs. We don't see any search bars. I don't see any keywords, right? The, the UI is clean because this is, again, we are trying to match make you with the appropriate startups. Okay. Now, that said, as you can imagine, because we're a matchmaker and not a job board, this can change day to day. Now, once you do set up your profile, you can come over here. I would recommend going to settings and then making sure that your notifications are set up so that when we do have new jobs that are posted and you're a match, you get a notification. Now, if that's just going to be one more email, I hear you. Just make sure you log in maybe once a week, maybe once or twice a week to see what new roles have populated at the top. Okay, and those are just new roles on the platform. So that's another thing, especially if you have a very unique skill set Don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged at all. And in fact, you now know Forrest and I, so let us know what small business or startup we need that does match your job, and we'll try to get them on MeeBoss, and we'll all win. But really, if you don't see as many jobs as you might see with my demo here, again, please don't get discouraged and please come back. Okay. Okay, now from there, again, related to what Forrest has noted, chat to apply. Again, I don't see any fields. I don't see an option to upload my resume, so on and so forth. What I do see is information about the job itself. And so the important thing as we're doing this is we try to figure out, based on this unique approach to hiring, why were you matched, right? Like start thinking through that concept instead of immediately going to, here's what I'm going to do for this company. But why me, right? What was it about your specific background that matched you with an opportunity like this? Now, this one for me, I could easily say I have so much sales experience. That's actually what I help do here at MeeBoss, right? I've got those skills and so on, but it really just lists this short job description. And I would go through this and try to think, okay, engage with clients. When do I engage with clients in my background? Oh, I did this at this job. What was the outcome? Oh, it makes sense why they wanted me. All right. And so actually get systematic with these job descriptions. Now, this is one for me, boss, so it's not as long. Let's go and check out another one we can see here. This one's much longer, and it has more detail. So again, the important thing here is as you're reviewing these job descriptions, know that you were matched for a reason and start to think, why me? Okay. Then once you figure out the why me, and I'm going to go back to the top because again, we are in a live environment. I'm going to hit chat to apply. Okay. Now, a couple more tips, and what we see right here is there are some default message options. Set yourself ahead of the pack and write your own. Okay. Look at this initial message as a cover letter. So, what you could do is you could use one of these as your intro and then follow up with whatever information that you wanted to add outside of it. Maybe you didn't want to list it all in this small of a box. Okay. And so, if you do, though, this is where I would put together a very customized message, and don't use this one, right? But remember, I only have a certain amount of characters. And what I want to relate is the whole why me? Why was I chosen? How do my dreams align with what that job description was? So I could enter that in. Okay. After I do that, now let's say I did send a message. This is going to connect me. Now, that's an important thing to note that this will still connect you if you go in and you don't write a message. That's okay too. It's you showing interest, but remember the very next thing you're going to do is, again, the hiring manager has the option to do all these. You have them grayed out, of course, as you can see, but that's something that they will ask and require of you as you go along in the process. This is where you want to make sure to add the message. So I really wanted to show you that, but I already have set up a chat with Forrest. I did the same thing. Now, I would have done this right after, so you can see I did this yesterday. I wouldn't have left this sit here for a day. Now, although we're not like traditional job boards, and as Forrest noted, our big goal is that we don't want to give a hiring manager a stack of resumes. I've been there, I've started my own companies. That's the last thing I want to do. I want to work on products, I want to get to market, I want to sell, right? And so what this is we want to limit the amount of contacts that a startup receives. So again, if you were chosen as one of them, make sure that you immediately respond. And this is where I would go in. Now, what do you see me also doing here? What you see is that I'm actually typing it out. Okay, I'm actually typing out the message. We can tell when you use AI. All of the startups that we're working with, we of course ask them how the custom messaging has been. So I would just highly recommend you always type out your message.
Yeah, and you'll see a little icon above where he's typing on the left, a little
Mhm.
message with the AI indicator on the left.
Yep.
You can get some ideas and prompt, but Craig, your point is, I'll double down on that. Like, you want to make this personal. And look, we've all used AI. We're already able to tell, right? People's radars go up when they can tell it's kind of losing that personal voice, that individual side. So great to see Craig typing, putting his heart into the message. This is like his personal cover letter to me.
Mhm.
I'm going to go in now in the background, and I do see his message. So let me say something back here.
And so
I'll
as you
use.
can see as well, you as the job seeker can see when that message is read. One of the things that we work on and stress with our hiring managers, our startups, our small businesses, do not ghost. If we ghost you, we're like every other platform out there. So if you see it's red, expect a response one way or the other. We tell them, even if it's a no, that's fine. I would rather have a candidate no than think that their job just went into an abyss. While Forrest is doing that, because he's typing a message back you can't see, I'll go over to this other one and I could use this to again give this a start and then start to edit what that message is. Again, that's why I would put in the why me part. Okay. So,
All right, I am sending that message, but see, now I'm trying to make it personal. I should remember this is just a demo.
but no, that is again, folks, that's what you want to see. And this is again what we find the uniqueness of this platform. And the Tinder meets Indeed analogy is that once you're matched, it is this open communication until those next steps. Okay. So a couple things, as you can see, I apologize. There was honking in the background. A couple things that you can see. One, now I have unlocked three new options for getting more information to the hiring manager. So already a big step in the process. Next, I can actually look at what Forrest has written. I can come in here, check more about it. I can go and check more about the role itself if I wanted to again by scrolling up and being like, oh, this is great. Got back to me. Okay, now what do I want to do? Now, we're not going to go much further than this, but the point here is that everything is meant to be a human to human connection. And from here, this is how I would relate, again, all of my experience based on the responsibilities I'm looking to have at this company. And since it's a startup, and this is my favorite part about really working at MeeBoss, is you're dreaming with them. And so either you're going to be a part of this dream for a long time, or tell them what your dream is and what you're hoping to do with the knowledge that you'll gain from this startup, right? But everyone in these positions and everyone you're going to be talking to created something in their garage and is now running with it, right? And it's like, why not you too? So, again, as I come down here, I think the cool parts again, I do have these options now if I wanted to send my resume to him, if I wanted to exchange email. And so now it requests it from him, right? Once he accepts, then it will send his email to me. Perfect. Now, of course, we would love for communication to stay in MeeBoss, but just like that dating app, sometimes it's time for that first date, and you take it off the app, and hopefully it leads to an interview. Now that we are all free, I would like to go with. I don't think he's going to be up at one, and I can add some more time slots. And so that's really the process that you would go with. our mentality is that initial chat is where a startup finds the culture fit. Next step is could be the resume. Now, I want you to know that these startups know that 95% of resumes are written with AI. So just take that with a grain of salt. So it's just not as important, right? And you kind of just go along this process until you get to the request interview. Yay. And then we hear from the startup that they hired you and we go from there. And so it's that easy on MeeBoss to go in again, find your jobs, find the one that you're interested in, chat to apply. I already did that one, of course. I don't want to do another one because these are real, but I would chat to apply with one of the other ones. Go ahead, type my message in. As you can see, because I have a sales and an entrepreneurship background, a lot of the roles on MeeBoss are based in that. So we have a lot there. We also have undisclosed if they're not familiar or if they're not comfortable with sharing that. Now, another couple key points here, and then I'll throw it back to Forrest for the rest of the slides and Q&A is if you see undisclosed or you see stealth, that's okay. Those are questions that you want to be prepared to ask about. I noticed it was undisclosed. Is it an equity offering? What is your vision for compensation in this role based on my responsibilities? Ooh, use that one, right? If
That
it's
was really
stealth,
good.
if it's stealth, it's even more fun because it means they're building something so freaking cool that they only want very, very specific people to know, and you might be one of them. So just a few things to note there. We also have everything from internship all the way up to founding level roles. So based on your levels of experience, you may see a different amount of matches and a whole variation of this job search. So thank you so much for taking some time to walk through that with us all. Forrest, I will kick it back over to you.
Awesome. And thank you, Craig. I'll just wrap up with a few more thoughts. But one thing I wanted to kind of reiterate when we were doing the chat and you shared your resume with me, we allow you to store up to 3 or maybe it's 5 now different resumes. We realize people may have customized them in a couple different ways. But what we're really helping also to solve is that you don't need to customize that resume for the nth time, right? Today in many workflows to apply, you're customizing each resume for every application. And God bless everybody for doing that. But it's, you know, we're taking that stress, that work off of your plate. We're doing the matching based on the resume and the data you share with us. But we're instead of spending the time customizing a resume that's going into that black hole, you're now spending your time, as Craig was showing you, really telling your story and engaging with the founder or with the hiring manager directly and standing out, really that answering that why me, which is kind of, I guess, what we were trying to do when we're customizing resumes, but it's just the wrong way of going about it. So by putting all that energy and effort into the chat, that's we're seeing great results and employers, founders responding to that. So yeah, just wanted to mention that yeah, resumes are still in there, but you click to share them, but you don't have to spend all day, you know, customizing those. Let me share my screen again.
And one thing to note about this as well is as much as we love these startups, MeeBoss as a company, we're hiring for a bunch of internal roles. So feel free if you do go to MeeBoss, go to our company page, which you can do. There's a little company button. We didn't look at that, but there's a little company button on top. Feel free to search for MeeBoss too. And in your chat, if you match, say, hey, I was in the webinar, right? I'm telling you, put yourself ahead of the crowd and customize it based on what you know. Back to you.
Perfect. Let's just spend a couple more minutes and then we've saved time, of course, for your questions. I'll also note that while we've been doing this on our laptop, I noticed my phone also sent me a notification that said Craig Rabin sent me a message, and some of that activity got my attention that way. So we're really, you know, helping people get started on web or mobile, but we're optimized also for mobile. So once you're just looking at those matches a couple times a week, or responding or initiating chat, it's very easy to do on our mobile app. So why another recruitment platform? I think we've more than well covered that. But you can see hopefully from the little time we spent in MeeBoss that we're really going more toward that interaction side, and we're already seeing the difference. We have success stories. If you follow us on LinkedIn, you'll be seeing some new ones that we're putting out there. Both, the founders and the job seekers who've been hired through MeeBoss telling that story, and it all comes back to connection making the difference. Does it cost any money? No. In fact, for job seekers, you guys are in the clear. Employers, actually, it's free right now too, because we're building an ecosystem. In the startup world, you could say we're in growth mode. So we have our product market fit, just to steal another phrase from the discipline, but we are also allowing startups to post roles for free as well. And you apply through the chat button, as you just saw. Recommendations, I can't emphasize enough that kind of the more you put into MeeBoss, the more you'll get out of that. That starts with a great profile, setting your preferences for the type of roles you're looking for, your experience level, your location, your education. Those things all matter. And then, the more activity you have on the platform. So we have our feedback loops. So if we're showing you match roles, our app is paying attention to which ones you're looking at or not. We're also paying attention to who you're chatting with or not. We don't see those chats, but we can see activity. And so the more that you're interacting, we're starting to figure out, what your next recommendations will look like. And we're helping you keep those conversations moving forward. And so, yeah, we're not a traditional search function. I think you guys understand how we operate around job matching and chat first. Craig, thank you for plugging MeeBoss roles. We are definitely hiring. So hopefully some of our positions, product engineering roles that we're hiring for, they may be in your matches as well. And we invite you to reach out to us. But we're also supporting hundreds of startups and growing companies right here in Seattle on all sides of the spectrum. We have entry-level roles, so we're definitely very excited to partner with universities, undergrads, early career job seekers. You can see some of those roles here across technical and non-technical roles. And then also senior level. So those that are coming out with a master's degree in master's CS or MBAs. For sure, there's a lot of startups that are looking for co-founders, looking for full stack engineers or technical co-founders and venture development partners. There's a lot of opportunity for those who are bringing significant experience to the table as well. But this is just a sampling here. There is a QR code down the bottom right if you want to download the app now to get started. And then, yeah, one more plug for us. We're hiring. These are some of our key roles right now. Business development, so that would be a role more on the sales side to work with customers and get them on board. We're making a big splash on the marketing side, and then of course, we're a product-led organization, so we're always improving not only our algorithm in the middle, but how our platform performs for customers. A couple more tips, and I think then we can wrap into some questions. Just to reiterate, I think, Craig, you covered this perfectly in the demo. Be genuine, be yourself. Don't be afraid to ask a compelling question or a tough question out of the gate. Get the employer's attention. And the best way you do that is by being yourself, not putting AI or something out there for you. Lead with clarity. So what sets you apart, as Craig mentioned, look for those things in the job description. Research the company, at least take some time to kind of see what sets you apart, why you would be a good fit, and talk to those things. And then show you're adaptable. One thing we're seeing, and this is for certain in the startup world, is that they may be hiring you for a specific role and you see that job description on paper, but how many times have we taken a job where everything you do is on that piece of paper? Usually you get in there and it's quite often something completely different. With startups, you're also going to stretch. You're going to do things outside of your role. And that's becoming more and more of an expectation, not just for startups, but in larger companies as well. You have to be adaptable. show how you're using new skills, you're learning, but also that you're leaning into other roles, you're taking initiative to show that you can add value in other ways than what they brought you in for initially. And then startup, one thing you'll hear, hashtag startup life. There is a lot that happens on a day-to-day basis. I love it. Been, as Craig mentioned, he's launched and founded several startups. For me, this is my third startup here. And this is the one that I know I'm meant to be driving with the team. But there's a lot that you're going to, you're building a dream and you're part of that dream. So you're going to get your hands on it, but things are going to change constantly on a daily basis. Things are going to go well, things are going to be challenging. And so show that you can keep up with the pace, ask about that culture that they have, and be ready to adapt and be ready to embrace those changes as they come. A couple other things we're seeing, 2026 right around the corner. Know that you're in a great market actually for startup growth and elite talent. This is the sweet spot. Seattle is consistently in the top 5 on both sides. So MeeBoss is really being a great matchmaker to bring talent together to fill those startup roles. More and more, you'll see remote roles on MeeBoss, but quite often the founders prefer somebody who's at least in the zip code or at least within 10, 20 miles, because you'll be working remote, but now the preference is now going the other way where they do want to co-work occasionally. Let's get together once a week. Our customers are in Seattle, so they're, even though it's remote, meaning they don't have a physical office, they may be working from cafes or from their home. They're also looking for candidates that are here in the city or nearby. AI is a core competency, so I'm sure at City University this is part of your program and the learning there, but demonstrate that. A lot of businesses aren't going to wait or tell you how to use AI. I think it's great to come in and show how you're already using that in your daily life, or putting those tools together in different workflows, and how those can be applied to solve some of the opportunities for the product or the business processes. And then really the company creation side, this is where your personality comes in. So just know that there is sometimes a trend where startups are getting pretty far. They're getting into the funding, maybe approaching Series A funding with a very, very lean team. So do kind of ask those questions about what's the makeup of the team. What do they see in terms of their growth as they're hiring this role? What are the other roles that they're thinking of or that are around in that company? Because there is a preference sometimes to start very, very lean, and they can go pretty far, with that kind of first 5 staff. Craig, did you want to mention about our some of the things we're doing outside of MeeBoss?
Yeah, I'll do it quick. I want to make sure we have time for Q&A. So one of the things that we are trying to do that is an upcoming trend, and as I'm saying this, feel free to start raising your hands. I'll start calling on folks after. Um, One of the things that we're trying to do is blend what we're trying to do on MeeBoss with the idea of an in-person hiring experience, right? So kind of controlling that first date, if we go back to the Tinder example. And so it's a blend of first matching with the right startups, right? Then chatting, everything that we just looked at. But then the third step becomes very unique. It's coming to a hiring festival where you can have 5 to 10 minutes with that startup. They are going to be meeting with other candidates as well, but you're going to do it in a very warm and friendly environment. We're going to make sure we get a lot of food for you. We're going to have some speakers there that talk about really all the benefits of working in a startup, but there'll also be dozens of other startups in the room too. And so this will be a great opportunity uh, to find some new careers here in Seattle. We are still building the list. The last one had 24 startups that were there and about 150 job seekers. We did land a handful of roles from that. We saw a lot of interviews that day. So it's a unique approach, and it blends what you're already going to be doing on MeeBoss into a choreographed kind of interview dance, if you will. With that, I see Clark has his hand up. So Clark, did you want to come off mute and ask a question?
Sure. Thank you for your presentation. I love this chat first focus and efficiency. However, like I had a profile for quite a while and I haven't opened it again. But I noticed like there's like a blocker on my user journey wherein my preference is already set, like sponsorship is needed and not open to relocate in Seattle only. However, in the recommendation system, I do still see a lot of doesn't sponsor visa or like in San Fran. Is there a way to do a hard filter just because it's already in the profile and it's not getting picked up, right? And then probably for my own user journey, it's like it just decreases my like retention time in the BBOS site, right? And then the follow up quick question as well is with this matching, are we able? So it's great that you mentioned that you're trying to solve the problem of the resume going to the black hole, right? But right now, I do feel like it's still going to like a black box. Is there a way for users to know the confidence matching of job to my profile so that I can have a more like trust the algorithm more?
Yeah, I
I
think that's
can
a great. But yeah, I was going to say, I think that's a great
go ahead.
question and awesome feedback. Honestly, the algorithm gets better by folks like you, Clark, letting us know how your experience has been, getting all these new startups and working with them on how their matches are too. I'll certainly relay your feedback to the product team. Thank you so much for that. I agree with you. And then Forrest, if you wanted to kind of note to the other side.
Yeah, specifically wanted to mention the location question. So that's a really good observation. If you've indicated Seattle, we definitely want to adhere to that as much as possible. We may stretch out of those borders, but I agree San Francisco is a little bit of a commute from here. But we're actually in the middle of rolling out our third phase of changes around location. So we have not only improving that in the recommendation, but we're making it more specific. So if you've said you're open to remote roles, previously that is would have probably triggered showing some uh, really well matched roles, but in other locations because you maybe have remote on your profile. But now we ask a couple of other questions in terms of where are you actually located? And so we're able to now, literally this last week, we just released phase 2 of these changes. There's a couple more changes coming, but we're
Mhm.
allowing people to tell us a little bit more like, where are you? How far are you willing to go? Are you willing to relocate? And that way, if you're adding other cities, it makes more sense. But we're also trying to, if you're not, open to those situations and you're just looking for something here in Seattle, we're trying to make that better too.
Okay. Yep.
The other piece that we maybe speaks to the trust side is that we have started. In fact, you saw maybe in Craig's demo, starting to put indicators of when people were last logged into MeeBoss. A little bit of that presence, right? That has my message been read? Little signals that we can show that there's actual real activity happening. Just at least knowing somebody read my message. I mean, I know my wife asked me to put read receipts on my text sometimes. Even that just lets us know that, okay, the message was received, right? So we're also investing a lot in our roadmap to bring out these signals so that it's not just a black box, that there's this is a living, breathing platform. And so as much as we're trying to encourage and push job seekers to be active and focus on the right roles and personalize their message, Craig and I and the team, we're also doing that to the employers. They're not used to doing this, right? They're used to kind of hiding behind applications and large, expensive systems and not actually talking to candidates. So we're having to, we're educating people too, as we're all kind of changing that behavior so we can all come back together and really talk about what matters, these great opportunities.
Awesome.
Thanks for the
Morgan, I see
questions.
you've got your hand up as well.
All right, yeah, we have Morgan's with some questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So one of my questions, and we're still in the planning phases for March 14th. So I just wanted people to know about that. However, you're at New Tech Northwest, Craig, every month, right?
The second Tuesday of every month.
The second Tuesday of every month. And for everybody on the call who is in the area, the code for December 9th is Maple. Now, sometimes Forrest is there, sometimes you're not, Forrest.
Try to be.
You try to be. Sometimes I know you're busy. Uh, how important is it for you, do you feel, to have people kind of show up and get to meet you at New Tech Northwest? And what has been the reception by this concept at New Tech?
So I don't represent New Tech anymore, actually, because we have a lot of other events that I, as the director of events at MeeBoss, have to run here, so it had to take priority. So I help out with Brett when I can. So I won't be there next week either, unfortunately. We have another event. But it's been good. I mean, job seekers are finding jobs, right? And so that's a very job seeker-esque crowd. I think we've had one gentleman, the dumb phone guy. Now I can't remember his name for some reason. But he's listed some jobs and had some good qualified leads recently. So yeah, it's not so much a new tech specific thing, but really all audiences have been perceptive to it. The benefit of new tech is that I get to take the stage and tell everybody, and everyone's focus has to be on me versus kind of walking around a room and trying to do it. So that's why we've kind of stepped into these hiring festivals. We're going to be doing a lot of co-hosting. Forrest and I are actually on our way to the plug and play cohort. We're going to be doing a lot of plug and play work. Obviously, WTIA, we're part of their new cohort. So we're really trying to own these events more than kind of the smaller meetups, but those that are really based in the ecosystem and have a lot of benefits for these startups.
Yeah,
And
we're
people
we'll
can find out about these other events by going to your event calendar, right?
Yes, ma'am.
yeah. So I know there's different platforms of choice. We have our event calendar on Luma, which a lot of the tech community here in Seattle has also adopted. So yeah, follow MeeBoss on Luma or certainly LinkedIn. We're out there always talking about the events leading up to the event, during and after. And so there's a lot of community that's being built, and we're happy to support that. We're also going to be at the GeekWire Gala next week, so we're really trying to help attract all the amazing talent and those